We have an Exhibit 7, that identifies at least 40 mutual funds that primarily trade in commodities. The commodity-related mutual funds over the last several years have gotten into the game big time. We've come across one mutual fund that has over $25 billion in assets, with one of its primary purposes to trade in commodities. The question is, are mutual funds that trade in commodities also contributing to commodity price speculation? And do you believe that we ought to keep the 90% rule, that investment revenues accrued by mutual funds must be realized from investments in securities, and no more than 10% should be realizable from alternative investments, including commodities? Can you give me kind of quick yeses, nos, maybes, Mr. Ciccio?
Well, you know, we think that those kinds, we shouldn't have these. The mutual funds should not be participating in commodities, period, because it has nothing to do with supply and demand and price discovery.
We currently have a 10% rule, so you at least would want us to hold to that.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Slocum?
I agree, absolutely, yes.
Okay, Mr. Tuberville?
The numbers are just staggering. Any percentage of mutual funds added compared to an open interest in commodities, in physical commodities, of around $900 billion would just swamp it, yes.
And there's no stopping it now if they're allowed to continue to have these offshore deals that they wholly own, and if they're allowed to, in other ways, circumvent the 10% rule.
There's no stopping it, and the sales forces must be very effective, as I pointed out before.
By the way, we did actually stop it in the Senate. We had a House bill which would have eliminated that limit of 90%, and said you can have as many speculative investments as you want in commodities. Came over from the House with the abolition of the 10%. We were able to strike it here, and the Senate sent it back to the House. Without that, there were some other things mutual funds wanted, but they didn't get that one. And I think there's been very little attention paid to this issue. And I would hope that one of the things this hearing would do would be to focus on this question, really for the first time, as to whether we ought to have this possibility through this circumvention, through the offshore, these structures offshore, these corporations which are shell corporations, and who's going to regulate them. And that's a big issue, which we'll also get into with Mr. Gensler. I think I'm over my time on the second round. Dr. Coburn.
Thank you.